To Architrave Gaming, I'm the Archmaster. Today, we are talking about a class that I really like, that I made in my own system, Arches and Avatars, and specifically a subclass, the Tactician Fighter. Technically, the class is called the Armiger. The Fighter is just one path of the class. So, the Tactician Fighter Armiger is super mega cool. Really like it. As a fighter, you get some basic stuff. You actually get a bonus to your strength score at level 1 as a fighter. You get a D10 hit die, all the normal stuff. Proficiency with armor and weapons, cool things. I'm not going to go over the entire fighter class or the armature class. I'm just going to go over the tactician real quick. So if you watched a previous video, maybe I'll release them back to back just so this makes sense. You'll know that there are attribute threshold bonuses. When you take an attribute like intelligence or charisma or strength and you get it to a 10 or usually a 15 or a 20, you get bonuses, right? With some attributes there's a penalty if it's under 10, but with all of them there's a bonus at 15 and 20. And I showed that, hey, even a fighter, if he doesn't have a high strength but he has a high intelligence or a high charisma or a high willpower or a high dexterity or a high constitution, he can still survive. He's totally good. There's not just one or two attributes that a class needs, and if you don't have that, too bad for you. I don't do that. I actually make all of them useful, but I make them useful in their own way. If you have a high intelligence, you crit more often. You crit on a 19 or 20. If you have a high charisma, your allies get to flank your enemies, right? I don't have flanking normally, only if you have a 15 charisma or higher. If you have a 15 dex or higher, you can attack twice instead of once because you're so fast, you're so dexterous, right? Etc. It keeps on going. So next, I went to skills and showed that having proficiency in different skills, all the way from your strength, dexterity, charisma, and intelligence skills, they can all be useful in combat. If you pick the right ones, they can all be useful to a fighter. Well, not all. Many can be useful to a fighter in the skills themselves. So, say you pick a fighter and you roll your stats and you have a high charisma and a low strength. Like, oh man, you can actually go double down on that and pick proficiency in some charisma skills like persuasion, intimidation, deception, and you can actually use those in combat. Persuasion is something like, you tell your buddy, hey, watch out, right? I know it's technically not persuasion, but I put it in the skill where, you're helping your buddies, you're telling them to watch out and whatnot, you're giving them bonus to attack or bonus to their own AC, etc. With intimidation, you can make enemies like lock onto you so they're too afraid of you to dare look out, to dare break their eyes away, and so your allies can pass without attacks of opportunity, or you can just have bonuses to attack them. With deception, you can feint and then get a bonus to attack. Your allies can get a bonus to attack. Lots of cool stuff with each skill, right? Those were just charisma skills for examples. So I showed that with those two things, even the fighter with the wrong stats can still totally be a cool fighter, and it actually plays differently than if he did just have high strength, right? I prefer those other ways to play because it's something that we just don't get to play. All fighters have to be strength or dex, or else they just don't work, right? In this, it's actually different. So there is a subclass. At least I intend to make one. I've made a couple here, but the plan is with Arches and Avatars, there's a subclass for every off attribute, right? So there's a subclass for intelligence. There's a subclass for charisma. There's one for willpower, etc. Right? So with intelligence, the fighter subclass for intelligence is the tactician fighter. They use intelligence as their primary weapon. Yeah, it's always nice to have some good strength, always nice to have good con for armor, etc. But if you don't have those, it's not the end of the world because you're a tactician fighter, and as long as you have a good intelligence, you're good. So yeah, if you want to play fighter and then you roll your stats and you get high intelligence, it's like, oh great, looks like this subclass is right for you. If you roll your stats and get high strength, it's like, oh, the cleaver is right for you. They do a lot of strength, right? So, you pick your class, but you don't pick your subclass yet. You roll your stats. Your stats kind of tell you which subclass to pick. And that makes more sense later. So anyway, if you have, a 15 intelligence, which you should have, pretty early on, if not level 1, then yeah, you crit on a 19 or 20, which is like, you're a tactician. You know the weak spot. You're studying the enemy. It's like, I know exactly where to hit to crit, right? It's cool. You double your chance of critting. And then, if you choose the tactics skill, right? Tactics is an intelligence skill. You automatically get proficiency in the tactics skill as a tactician fighter. I believe it's an extra skill proficiency, right? So that means that you're making your tactics skill checks, and you're getting this +5 to attack the enemy every time. Every time you succeed, which shouldn't be that hard because you're a tactician, you have a bonus to it. But yeah, like it's. You could have a high strength and have, a +7 to hit the enemy because you have a good proficiency and a high strength. Or you can have a good intelligence, make that tactics check, and have a +7 to hit them. It's the same thing, you still have a +7, but it's like I use my tactics to discern this. And I get an extra crit. And I get extra, AC against him. You feel like a tactician. You feel like you're thinking about it, and your character is actually behaving differently than just, I hit him really hard because I'm really strong, right? They feel different. But on top of that, you get tactical focus. You add half your level to any tactics skill check you make. So you automatically get your proficiency, that's +3 at level 1, and then half your level, right? By level 10, that's a +5. You're getting a massive, and it's even more than that because at level 10, you would have adept proficiency in tactics. You would have a +10 to your tactics roll, right? That's awesome. All right, tactical opening. In a previous video about combat, which you should probably watch before you watch this one, I talked about the miss bonus. When you attack a creature and miss, you have a +3 to your next attack against him because you open him up. Like he had to dodge out of the way, he opens himself up, and then you take advantage of that and attack him, right? As a tactician, at level 1, by the way, all my classes get their subclass at level 1. You get tactical opening. You add your intelligence modifier to your miss bonus. So if you have a decent intelligence modifier, like +3, you have that +6 to your next attack against him instead of a +3. It's like, because you're like, yeah, you're really good at making openings. It's like, oh yeah, right there, and now you're totally off balance and you hit him. And if you miss twice, that's a +12 to your next attack. That's called guaranteed surplus, buddy. So yeah, and remember, the miss bonus applies to the next attack against them. It doesn't have to be yours. So if you're up there and you miss someone twice and you make up this opening, your buddy can go in and hit him so hard, right? You're the tactician. You're making openings for yourself and for everyone else. The features actually make you feel like a tactician. It's peak. You feel good being a marshal. It's really cool. And then battle cooperation. This is another one. Level 1. It's super cool. For every attack you make against a creature, whether you hit or miss, every attack, there's a cumulative +3 bonus to any allies' next attack against it. So you can attack a creature and miss twice. So that's +6 miss bonus, another +6, +12 miss bonus. But because you attacked him twice, that's another +3 and +3, another 6. So it's +18 to the next ally's attack against him, right? But if you did miss, say you hit him both times, and you might get a crit because you have a double chance of crit, right? So you're hitting him, you're being a fighter, you're doing your thing. But just because you're attacking the person and you're so good at tactics, your ally gets a +6 to attack him because you attacked twice. Like you are making openings for everyone. You are everyone's favorite person. Like, follow the tactician. He will make openings. He will get these guys dead, right? The tactician is so cool. I really liked him so much. I didn't even talk about weapon specializations. I guess I'll have to get into equipment and talk about that later. But yeah, you can. I thought it was kind of lame when wizards in 5e, they choose a spell school to specialize in, and they call it a subclass. Which, by the way, I don't think that's a subclass. I think that's just a specialization. But yeah, you pick I'm super good at evocation spells. Okay, that's cool. Why don't marshals get that? Why can't you say, I'm super good at bladed weapons. I have power attacks and extra features and things. I said, why not? There's no good reason why not. I put it in the system. Marshals get weapon specializations. It's really cool. You also get armor specializations if you want. You can specialize in armor and get cool features like extra DR and dodging attacks and all sorts of cool stuff. You get to customize your character so much as a marshal. It's not boring anymore. It's really not. Arches and avatars is actually really fun. All right. As you level up from levels 1 to 10, okay, I technically have a level 20 system, right? It's 1 to 20. But you get all of your subclass features in the first 10 levels. If you want to go after that, you actually choose a second subclass at level 11 and go again. So you are like the ultimate fighter. It's like, I learned the tactician style, I beat it, I mastered it, now I'm going for the cleaver style. And you have 2 subclasses. It's so cool. And yeah, your class features go all the way from 1 to 20, right? And the later level stuff is kind of crazy. But yeah, your first 10 levels, you can play the first 10 levels with your class, your subclass, be perfectly satisfied. Most games run only to level 10 anyway, so why not give you most of the cool stuff in the first 10 levels? You get your entire subclass, all of it in the first 10 levels, and plenty of class features to be completely satisfied that you have played a full fighter, right? It's another reason, it's another way A&A has fixed 5e. It's like, oh yeah, we fixed that problem. You know, playing levels 1 to 10 is fully satisfying now. Imagine that. So, as you level up, there are 4 more features across the next 9 levels. It's about a feature every other level. Because every other level you get like a feature, a subclass feature, subclass class. It's kind of like that. All right, so at a later level, you get Tactical Genius. You use your think action as a fighter, because they use their think actions for a lot. For 1 round, decrease the number on the die needed to score a critical hit by 1. Decrease the number again at 5th level and again at 10th. So you can use your speak action, your think action, and you're like, all right, great, I crit on a 19 or 20. And at level 5, it's 18, 19, or 20. And at level 10, it's 17, 18, 19, or 20. But if you already have a 15 intelligence, it already lets you crit on a 19. So it's like 16, 17, 18, 19, or 20, I crit, right? You are the crit master. The Tactician is about openings and crits. The Tactician is the crit fighter. I had a player that he's just like, all right, yeah, I use this thing, crit. I used it again, crit. Like, he loved critting people. It was wonderful. Anyway, yeah. Next, Thoughtful Tactician. This takes 2 think actions, right? Because I said you could double up. You survey the battlefield, noting the weaknesses of your enemies. Double your proficiency bonus for your next 5 attacks. Increase the number of attacks affected by 2 at 10th level. So that would be your next 7 attacks. So yeah, you're using your 2 think actions, which means you can only take 1 achieve action that round, but your next 5 attacks, double proficiency bonus. That's not bad. At this level, you might even have a +4 proficiency. So it's like +8 to your attacks, plus all the miss bonus and all the other stuff. Like, they're really good at attacking precisely really well and getting great crits. All right, Nothing escapes notice. Nothing escapes notice. This is their next feature. Think action. You give yourself advantage +3, because I do have stacking advantage. It's just advantage +3, +3, +3 for every point of advantage afterward. You give yourself advantage +3 on your next intelligence check. Additional +3 at 10th level. So yeah, if you're like, hey, I'm going to do a tactics check, because tactics falls under intelligence. Like, before I do that, let me use nothing escapes notice. I'm going to use this first, and now I have advantage +3 on my next intelligence, which is, this tactics check and, blah, blah, blah. It's like stacking. It's really tactical. It's really cool. All right, last subclass feature. This one to get like level 9 or 10. Preemptive attack. Make an intelligence check against 10 plus the CR of one creature. If you succeed, your next successful attack against the creature also prevents the creature from taking its next action. So yeah, you have that dragon that wants to fire breath. You're like, great, intelligence check, 10 plus CR. The DC is 10 plus CR. You beat it? Cool. Attack him, doesn't take his next action, no breath attack. Talk about interrupting something. It's called preemptive attack. It's like, no, I see what you're about to do. You don't get to do it. It's like, you're a tactician. It's really cool. I like the Tactician a lot. It stacks with your other skills and stuff. Here's another thing. At the risk of going on too long, we're not done. It's just so cool. You can actually pair up intelligence checks, intelligence skills, and charisma skills. You can make an intelligence check. For instance, we'll say a tactics check. And if you go back to tactics, I think it says you get +3 to your next attack. Yeah, at journeyman you get +5 to attack a creature, right? So you're a journeyman, you have journeyman proficiency in tactics. You succeed the check, +5 to attack the next creature. You can use something like persuasion, or I forget exactly which skill it is, but yeah, you can make a charisma check, okay? And you can send that out to your allies. So you make the tactics check and say, oh, +5 to my next attack against him. I see he's weak. Then you can use your speak action to say, hey, everyone, hit that spot, he's weak. Now, everyone gets your +5. Everyone gets it, including you. You multiply it because you combine the things. Your charisma is not useless in combat. Intelligence is not useless in combat. The marshals can use charisma and intelligence, help themselves, help their allies. It's so cool. It's no longer just a caster skill, Okay, it encourages you to have those skills in and out of combat, to have high attributes. No matter what your attribute is, you can play, pretty much any class. It's just so cool. I really enjoy Archers and Avatars. I am so pleased with its design. It's not done at all. It might take a couple of years to get it done. I'm looking for team members to actually help me design this, and also world building would be nice too. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you so much to my patron, Jack McCarthy, for joining, my first ever patron. It's like I got my first patron in the first month of YouTube. That's just like phenomenal. So yeah, thank y'all for taking a chance on me. Like and subscribe, feed the algorithm, YouTube, spread this out to more people. I'm really hoping that Archers and Avatars replaces a lot of people's home 5e games, because it's 5e but fixed. You have your D20 and the longsword still does a D8 damage. The fighter still has a D10 hit die, right? There's so many things that you know and love. It's like, yeah, this is the basic stuff. You're gonna see a lot of familiar things in there, but it just fixes the problem. Long resting in dungeons isn't a problem anymore. The whack-a-mole health going up and down isn't a problem anymore. Marshals being boring to play isn't a problem anymore. Casters being all being the same, where they all use the same system. They all use spell slots. It's like it's just the same caster. That's fixed. They use different systems. One is a roll to cast. One is you have spell slots, and like it's actually different. One has mana points. They're actually different. You play different caster classes and you have a different experience. Just like you play different marshals and you have different attributes and you have a different experience. Anyway, thanks for watching. Join my patron for access to the PDF, and so you can actually play test this at a certain level of patronage. I only have one tier right now for $5, but yeah, join up and help make the future of Archers and Avatars and my world building grand and epic, and help me actually release a full book, like 300-page rule book, so you can actually replace 5e at your table. Yeah, thanks for watching. God bless.